one of the things that when I started doing research for this piece, the very first thing that I did was read Ansel Adams' autobiography. And when I started reading it, it just really struck me how, even though there's different fields, like yours obviously the field of music, and his being the field of photography, how you are both artists that came from Northern California, and probably one of the strengths of how you created your individual style or voice was the fact that you were both kind of isolated. Now, in your case, I mean, a lot of people don't know, but you grew up on a ranch where your dad, my grandfather, was kind of a wild cowboy, and somehow he was married to your mom, my grandmother, who was a classical pianist. And despite the fact you grew up on a ranch surrounded by cowboys, you heard classical music all your life.
From the time I was born, I could hear my mother practicing, because she taught all day, and then at night she went there to the studio just to develop her skills as a classical pianist. So I heard so much Bach and Beethoven and Debussy, Ravel, just the greatest piano music, because she learned to play most of it. Chopin she loved.
And when we were reading the book by Ansel Adams, this became the music that he really loved, and maybe even more importantly than just the music itself, it was the tool that let him develop the ability to concentrate and how to stick to a task. And it was kind of by accident that he became a photographer. He went to Yosemite, I believe basically to recover from an asthmatic condition, where a doctor told him the air would do him some good. And he got up there, and of course it was beautiful, and he loved it, and it took his breath away. But also he wanted to keep practicing piano, and the one piano in the Yosemite Valley that he could find was owned by a fellow named Mr. Best. It was sort of a general store where you could photograph, you could develop some film, but also there was a Chickering piano there. So he went there to keep his chops up to be practicing, and there he also, a young lady that was Mr. Best's daughter, Virginia Best, caught his eye. So pretty soon he was in love with both the mountains and
the girl.
And the girl. And so that was a pretty heavy 1-2 punch. Although, he did try to go back to his classical piano career even after he started taking pictures at Yosemite. And in fact, in the piece that we wrote, there's scenes where you see a long, lonely road, and he's going back to the city, and he's practicing piano, but he's thinking about her, and he's thinking about the beauty of the mountains. And unfortunately for all of us in America, I guess you'd say it was fortunate that photography went out over music.
Yes, but he saw great similarities between photography and composition. And I think at one time, he even brought music into the way he developed his films. He talked about the similarity in developing. That's what you do as a composer. You develop a theme. And as a photographer, you develop a picture, and you bring out what you wanted to see the most by adjusting what you're doing in the darkroom.
Yeah, absolutely.